Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Ralph Waldo Emerson said these words, and think about them. Do not follow where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. I like that. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a Patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance on a Tuesday. Look at that sunshine. Woo! Good looking. What a difference a day makes. Feeling really good this morning. Good morning, everybody. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, and, of course, our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and along with some of our great advertisers, including Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Locally owned and operated. Get on the route service. Get rid of your garbage. Call 734-6969. And now, a lovely lady that is over at the main studios, tending to business and making sure that I also tend to mine. Hello, Gina. Hello, Gina.
No. Oh, my. I need to have Jerry fix this mic. There's like a break in it somewhere.
Yeah.
Good morning to you.
I could kind of hear crackling, but I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, the wonderful equipment here at Lee Family Broadcasting, but it is going to be a beautiful day.
Yes, it is. And I certainly hope you had a good day yesterday.
I did, and this afternoon I'm going to be working on some vehicles. I know, shock.
Uh-oh. There she goes, putting on her coveralls that are grease-stained and have the fumes of gasoline all over them.
Pretty much. I need to get 3 of 5 vehicles, get tabs on those, and then I've got 2 vehicles I need to tune up.
You know, I don't mean to chuckle. But if people could see you and meet you, you're the furthest thing from looking like a mechanic.
Well, you know, I'm not exactly the best mechanic in the world, but I can get the job done.
I mean, here you are, so petite like my wife, okay? Mm-hmm. And petite and small. Well, we got to drop in a 357 this afternoon.
You mean a 350 or a 351?
Yeah, that's what I should have said.
351 Cleveland.
Yeah.
Actually, the truck has a 455 Pontiac in it.
See my point.
I know, right?
I love it.
It's going to be a great day.
You should have written the comic strip Gasoline Alley.
I should. That's a great idea.
Change it. Call it Gina's Garage.
Yes. As a matter of fact, my dad told me that I should start up a shop and call it Gina's Garage.
There you go. We'll get the copyright laws on that.
There we go, yeah.
Do we have a caller for a pledge?
Me, you, or Michael?
You. Go ahead. Okay. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excellent. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have the weather, and it's brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Wonderful, wonderful people. And don't forget, if you missed, ladies, listen, if you missed the first Girls' Night Out, there's going to be another one on March 6th from 6 to 7:30, and it's going to be kind of a St. Patrick's Day Girls' Night Out right there at Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Oh, my goodness, you better check it out today. They have got everything in there. They can take care of all your home decor, brand new kitchens, everything at Cheney Flooring and Home Design. 1228 as I almost die choking to death. 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Number to call, 678-6945. Look for the blue door. And right now, here's Michael Rogers.
The time of year where no matter what I say, how I say it, what I do, you're ready for spring. It's going to get started a week early this year, so where am I going with that? Well, everybody's in a nice mood. It's nice and sunny. We got a beautiful sunrise. Life is good. We're going to talk about Obama for a little bit, and next thing you know, it's going to be snowing on Friday night. You're going to go, what's up with this? Because we're still in winter. Spring is not here for another 3-4 weeks. So, that being said, you got a nice day for today and clear tonight. It's going to take place all the way to Thursday, and then Friday you're going to have a nice day, and you're going to buy into it, and you got a slight chance of snow for Friday night going to Saturday and also Saturday night. You're getting ready for spring. That's what it's all about. And by the way, just to let you know, you're going to have a very interesting spring, too. Otherwise, look for daytime highs in the mid-upper 50s, overnight lows right around 30s. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
Thank you, Michael. Excellent job. Michael Rogers Weather, brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Oh, my goodness. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 10 to 4 at Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for their blue door. Hey, by the way, don't you forget, every Thursday is sale day at the Burley Livestock Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Yep, you bet you. Open up the gates and bring them on in, boys. Merv May, Cade Rogge, Lance Udy, all of those guys helping to serve you with the sale that works for you. 10 a.m. every Thursday, Burley Livestock Sale Yard. And on Thursday mornings, we always have our livestock consignment reports, so you be listening for the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Okay. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. By the way, I want to thank Marion Wickham, and Marion is with the Rupert United Methodist Church at 605 H Street, and tomorrow night being Ash Wednesday, they're going to have their services, I believe, at 7 p.m., and the community is really encouraged to attend in preparation for Easter. Thank you, Marion, and I appreciate those folks sending that over. Oh, and a happy birthday, Gina. You ought to get in on this birthday because you've heard me talk about and refer to the number one Vandal fan along with you, Larry Hudig.
Larry Hudig, mm-hmm.
Well, his lovely bride, Nancy, is having a birthday today, and Larry made the statement to me the other day that he will today buy Nancy anything she wants. Money is no object. That's what he said.
Go expensive, girl. Go expensive.
Have a great day, Nancy. Nancy Hudig, happy birthday from Gina and Zeb right here on Zeb at the Ranch. Have a wonderful day. There you go. Hey, I know somebody else that's going to help you have a wonderful day, and that is, of course, Daryl's Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Restoring of items, dry cleaning always prolongs the life of a garment, makes it look better, feel better, everything. They just do a wonderful job with my Rumply Crumplies every time I stop in there. Daryl's Cleaners, Kevin and Cindy, the whole crew, these are the nicest people you'll ever meet. Stop in and talk to them today and take your Rumplies in there. They'll come back looking brand spanking new. Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Also, our thanks go out to SafeLink Internet. And I am really blessed that we're on that program because it is Idaho's number one choice for wireless internet, 17 years and counting. And you can get the first month free plus free installation. And like I said, then it goes $24.95. Very economical, very good. SafeLink Internet. You give them a call today, 677-8000. Tell them Zeb sent you, 677-8000. Okay. Calls are welcome and appreciated, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, I was watching the news last night. I watched it on quite a few networks. I was absolutely shocked because even on the very, very liberal MSNBC with Chris Matthews, you know, the guy that had the throw up his leg when Obama was elected, all this kind of stuff, extremely left, extremely liberal. He has had it with the ISIS and the killings, the beheadings, the burnings. And when you get the liberal left on board as to the atrocities that are going on in the world that are going to come here, That's not just me talking. That is from many, many experts, many, many military people, many, many people in the know. It's going to happen here. And you know, when you look at the world map, what is so scary, ISIS and their terrorist involvement in 14 to 15 major countries, and literally just across the water, less than 500 miles from Italy, and just across the water, they're in the Philippines, and they're not that far off the coast of Australia. Their main goal is to take over the world and turn the ISIS black flag up on our capital. What's next? What's next? 21 Catholics from Rome shot, killed, beheaded. 21 Presbyterians, 21 Lutherans. Who's next that suffer from these animals? Oh, and then after it's done, and the heinous act has been completed, the White House will just say that they were Italian nationals or a group of Americans and not mention anything about whether they were Christians, Presbyterians, Lutherans. This administration will not say what the problem is and who the problem is being caused by, nor will our media. Even the Pope spoke out vehemently yesterday against ISIS and what they're doing and who they are. It's absolutely spooky to me that we have no leadership in the White House. Oh, by the way, there isn't any leadership in the White House. During this time of crisis and war, Obama's playing golf in California. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. I think one other concern that the people in this country should have is all these demonstrations against the police officers. These demonstrations are fertile grounds for recruiting terrorists who are already in this country.
Yeah, I know.
I bet you we've got terrorists doing their recruiting at every one of these demonstrations.
You know, the other day when I had Martin Moyer on the phone, and Tony, you of all people know who he is, the author that wrote the book Twilight in America, about all the base camps that have been set up in America and are teaching the jihad right here in our country. Martin is extremely worried about what's happening back in upper state New York, Texas, even real close to us with our neighbors in Oregon. And I don't know how and why our politicians, our leadership can be so, I'll just tell it like it is, dumb and naive about what the problem is and where they are.
Oh, our leader was out playing basketball the other night there with all these beheadings going on. Yeah. You know, what kind of an example is this jackass giving to our country?
Yeah, the days are long over for me to have any respect for this man and or what he has done to the Oval Office of the presidency. I took some condemnation from some folks here about 2 weeks ago. They said, we have to still respect the office of the president. No, the man has taken the office of the president and he has disrespected it to the point where he's put it down as a doormat. I cannot stand Barack Obama.
Well, all these foreigners that he's bringing into this country, we're going to lose our country because pretty soon these people that some of them can't speak the language are going to be out there voting, and there isn't going to be an American left in the White House.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you, and I'm so upset about what's going on, and nothing is being done. And quite frankly, Tony, you got to point your finger at the Republicans, too.
Yep, that's right. There's only a few of them out there that I have any respect for. That's
right. God bless you and Mary. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You betcha. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Did you hear? Now, this is unbelievable to me, and I'm going to get Gina involved in this in just a moment because she won't believe this. Did you hear what White House spokesperson Marie Harf said yesterday? Marie is the blonde with the great big black horn rimmed glasses. Oh my goodness. I could not believe it. I just absolutely almost fell out of my geezer chair. Stand by. I'll get to that in a moment. Don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. When it comes to everything electrical and anything for your heating and cooling systems, look no further. They are the best. They always have been. For well over 57 years serving you, 7:30 to 5:30 Monday through Friday. Number to call. They'll have everything waiting for you on the counter. 678-0459. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Oh, and by the way, too, don't forget, at Valley White Home and Ranch, the annual oil sale is going on. You can stock up on all the quality oils and greases at great low prices. 5% off bulk oil, 10% off packaged oil. You can save on cases of quarts and packs of grease and all kinds of savings right there at Valley White Home and Ranch right now with their annual oil sale going on at 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Please stop in and see Sean and Mandy and the whole crew. Wonderful folks at Valleywide Home and Ranch. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Marie Harf, I honest to goodness couldn't believe this. This is too crazy. She was interviewed and stood up at the podium yesterday, and she absolutely said that we can make friends with ISIS and help them get jobs. And by doing so, I'm paraphrasing, by doing so, they will eliminate the need and the want to kill us. I was blown away. When are these people that are all members of the NRB, oh, and by the way, if you don't know what that membership is, NRB means not real bright. It's a club for the Obama administration. But to say that we are going to be killing a lot of these people, but really in the long term, we need to go after the root causes that lead people to join these groups, whether it's a lack of opportunity for jobs. What? I lay this out to you this morning so that you can sweat bullets like I am over the stupidity of this administration. These people, these vermin, these animals with ISIS, they don't want jobs. Their ideology is that they want to kill us. They want world domination. And someone like this blonde bombshell with horn-rimmed glasses saying something so absolutely asinine stupid, well, we need to reach out to them. And we need to help countries work at the root causes of their problems and find out what makes these 17-year-olds pick up an AK-47 instead of trying to start a business. That's what she said. That's what she said.
You cannot change hundreds and hundreds of years of culture.
Okay, now, I want to not be sexist about this. I want to be very open-minded and very fair. Okay. So, you being a lovely female, and you can see both sides of the story. This is so asinine that a member of this administration, we are at war. We have people that want to kill us and others all over the world for world domination, and we should try to be nice to them and offer them jobs. Does that not just blow your mind?
Okay, so for the ISIS members, they do have a job, and that's jihad. That is their job. They don't need a job. They don't want any other job. You cannot communicate with these people. You cannot reverse hundreds of years of culture so they can be friends with us. It doesn't work.
Gina, they don't want to be friends with us.
No, they don't.
They absolutely abhor our lifestyle, our freedoms. They hate everything about the West. Mm-hmm. They don't like our clothing. They don't like our women's freedoms. You know, they're one of the most absolutely clandestine groups in the world, and we're going to sit down and make friends with them and say, oh, gee, let's sing Kumbaya and make chocolate s'mores and I'll give you a job. Are you kidding me?
No, but obviously, Did this girl get a degree? I mean, seriously, I haven't been up on the White House news as of lately. How many press spokespeople has this current?
Well, they have her, and they have a redhead also, but look it up on the computer. Get a chance during the break at the bottom of the hour, and take a look at Marie Harf, and she's been interviewed on various networks for some of the absolute stupid answers she gives to various questions by the media. But to sit there and perpetrate the idea that we can make friends with these people and extend a hand and give them jobs. How would you like to have a whole bunch of ISIS people apply at the radio station?
No thanks.
I'm just stumped as to how we can be this stupid. Really, I don't know how this woman could get a job as a spokesperson for the government.
I'm baffled myself just by obviously what is falling out of her mouth. I mean, does she realize what she's saying, or is she just opening mouth, words fall out, and she's reading a cue card?
I don't know.
Honestly,
I'm stumped as to why this administration is basically so backward, uneducated, and just so simplistic. I'll take that call in just a minute. Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley. We're going to be over there this Thursday. Is lunch bunch for Valentine's Day. Deanne's got some special little goodies for you. Come on by. Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley. And also a new location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Great menu. Fantastic food and wonderful service. They really take care of you. Thomas, Terry, the whole crew. Don't forget, lunch bunch this Thursday, and we also want to say thank you, Walmart, Hanson Mortuary, and Smith's Food King for the door prizes. You be there, Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Bell.
Yes, sir.
If that dingbat there, spokesman wants to believe that we can negotiate, I will start a drive and personally pay all expenses to ship her over there and let her try it.
George, I am absolutely astounded as to the mental breakdown of these people that are in this White House administration. They have the IQ of a box of rocks.
Yeah, they're too dumb to be stupid. That's just, it's just unreal, no common sense, and I don't know. Maybe Obama's back on drugs again. Who knows?
I can't even answer it. I mean, for a White House spokesman to say something like, oh, well, we'll offer them jobs and extend a helping hand, and they'll be our friend, and we'll all live in la-la land.
Yeah, they got their little bubble back here in D.C., and they get out of that bubble, and then they got to face the real world.
Amen. George, it's good to hear from you, my dear friend. Take care.
All right, thanks, sir.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. We got to take a little break here and get the Capital Press Ag Minute in, and we want to say thank you very, very much to Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Christine Pickup, Doctor of Audiology at 1218 9th Street, Unit 2, behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room. Number to call, 312-0957, and that's, of course, our dear, dear friend at Mount Harrison Audiology. Hearing loss is not a part of aging. It's very, very important you have your hearing checked, and she can do the job to help you. Christine Pickup at Mount Harrison Audiology. And right now, let's listen to the Capital Press Ag Minute.
Today's Ag Minute brought to you by the Capital Press, the West Ag Weekly. A consumer advocacy group will appeal a federal judge's decision to throw out its lawsuit against USDA's new poultry slaughter inspection system. Last year, USDA enacted new rules reducing the number of inspectors monitoring carcasses for adulteration, instead allowing slaughterhouse employees to perform those duties. The agency said inspecting for visually detectable diseases was outdated and devoted more personnel to preventing microbial contamination of poultry. Food and Water Watch sought a preliminary injunction, arguing the new system violates the Poultry Products Inspection Act. The judge recently rejected that request and dismissed the lawsuit because the group lacked standing to sue. For the Capital Press Ag Minute, this is Brandon Tenner.
For more agriculture news and information, turn to the West Ag Weekly, the Capital Press, and CapitalPress.com.
Thank you very much, and welcome back from the Capital Press, and brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology. And there, of course, the telephone number to call to have your hearing checked, 312-0957. Caller, I will be right with you. I've got a little bit behind here this morning, and I need to get something else on the air real quick, and I'll just take 30 seconds, so don't go away. Our thanks also to Barry Equipment and Rental, Eli, the old Packer backer, and Nick, and everybody else. 3 locations serving you, and that's, of course, at Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, South Lincoln and Jerome, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. They have the equipment for any job to get it done right. You better believe it. Retail equipment sales, equipment rentals, parts and service. Oh, they've got a great, great shop and a great staff. Barry Equipment and Rental. You stop in and talk to them today about the Doosan loaders, the Bobcats. They've got it all. Serving you. Twin Falls, Jerome, and Burley. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, that don't surprise me at all. There's a bunch of idiots in that White House anyways,
You know, Fred, I don't know. You served in the war. You've served in our military. You've had a long career of observing the good, the bad, and the ugly in politics. This administration, honestly, I'm not exaggerating. They've got me so scared for the protection of my family and my property because of the idiocy that's going on back there.
Yeah, it worries the hell out of me, I don't know what's going on, but, well, I do. I guess that's crazy our country. It just worries me what's going to happen when I'm gone. You know, my grandkids, my kids, too.
Yeah.
You know, and my great-grandkids.
I understand.
Country has disintegrated so much.
Yeah, and
in my lifetime.
I totally agree. And
I can't believe it.
well, hopefully, I agree with you. Fred, it's always good to hear from you, and I hope I can see you maybe Thursday at Lunch Bunch. God bless you, my dear friend. I got to run and do another commercial. Thank you.
Buddy.
All right.
Thank you.
That man means so much to me right there because basically I kind of quit fishing. I couldn't catch any fish, and he took me out fishing one time and the Salmon Dam Reservoir, and holy smokes, that man knows how to catch fish. And helped me, too. I had fun. That was great fun. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Scouts CarQuest Centers. You know, they've got everything for every vehicle. I mean, all the replacement products, accessories, and supplies virtually for all vehicles. And like I've said with Jeff Poole on the air with us and everything, every detail matters. They really, really care. What a team working for you, Scouts CarQuest and Excellence. And don't forget to get signed up for the Fleet Filter Survey. Great way to save time. When something breaks down, call them. They'll have everything on the information card for that vehicle. And they've also teamed up with Baldwin Filters, the best heavy-duty filters out there. Scouts CarQuest in Rupert, Burley, and the Big Truck Center at exit 211 I-84. Scouts CarQuest, excellence. Every detail matters. Give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. This story, this is one you're not going to believe. This is really something. From perhaps the most well-read newspaper in America, the New York Times. Did you hear what New York Times columnist Gail Collins did? Oh. She is also a member of the NRB club, not real bright. She wrote an article that was scathing against Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker. And I mean, she ripped him up one side and ripped him down the other for his Wisconsin attitude and creating and causing the huge teacher layoffs in the state of Wisconsin a few years back. Oh, I mean, she just absolutely ripped him up one side and down the other. But there is a small problem. After the article was written on the front page of the New York Times, somebody did a little fact check, just to verify the facts. You know what? Here's what they found. That Governor Scott Walker was not the governor when the teacher layoffs occurred. Oops. Yeah. Here is a noted columnist, Gail Collins, writing for the New York Times, and I mean going after Scott Walker like a junkyard dog. Oops. He wasn't even the governor when that occurred. And they put a little bitty, well, we made a mistake in the story. Governor Scott Walker was not the governor at the time of those teacher layoffs. That's all they said. That's all they said. And what the liberal press can do, will do, and has done against conservatives is absolutely appalling. I mean, you talk about tying him up to a pole and putting a whole bunch of timber and branches and grass that'll burn and then starting it on fire like Joan of Arc. She went after him. And then after everything is said and done, they found out, he wasn't the governor at that time. Absolutely crazy. Oh, another little news note that I just wanted to pass on to you. You know who the Minnesota congressman that's also a black Muslim, Keith Ellison, is? Yeah, from Minnesota. Now, some people out in the audience will say, well, why did you have to say that he is a black Muslim congressman? Well, because he is what he is, and I'm not going to pull any punches. He is a black, he is a Muslim, he is a congressman from Minnesota, Keith Ellison. He stood up yesterday and said basically that no one should have to register to vote in this country. There shouldn't be all these frivolous rules and regulations. Just show up at the polls and vote as you want. Now, nowhere in his little speech of idiocy does he mention that, oh, gee, someone might vote 37 times that day, if they're so inclined, because there wouldn't be any rules and regulations, there wouldn't be any verification, and that's the kind of thinking that is evolving itself from the Democratic Party, which is comprised of a bunch of NRBs, not real brights. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. A friend of ours, and while I'm waiting for your call, I'm going to tell you about this bull sale. Now, come on, give me a call real fast. Cordell Sheridan up at Elmo. I'm telling you what, this man, and I love the logo they've got for the sale this year. Hey, Cordell, that's really looking good. The 20th annual production sale, Sheridan Ranches, March 7th at 1 p.m. at the Burley Livestock Auction Yard. Oh, my goodness. 70 head of bulls, Gelbvieh, Angus, and Balancers. That's a Gelbvieh and Angus cross. 15 head of coming 2-year-olds, 55 head big mature yearlings, and they've got a first-year breeding season guarantee and a free delivery up to 300 miles, and they're going to have complimentary lunch that day. I'm telling you, these are ranch-raised bulls. And they've been ranged over in the City of Rocks area and over by Castle Rocks and Cache Peak. And I'm telling you, these are bulls that'll get the job done for you. Cordell's going to be on our program in a couple of days. We're going to talk about this 20th annual production sale. And I'm telling you, this is a ripping good bull sale. Cordell, I'm looking forward to having you on. For more information, call 208-824-5531 or call Cordell on his mobile, 430-5532. This is a great sale. The Sheridan Ranch Bull Sale coming up on March 7th at 1 p.m. at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Okay, don't miss it. All right, give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Now, this is going to cause a few problems, and it's going to throw a fly in the milk of the amnesty program that Barack was trying to slip through and let all the illegals come in. Here $1 million, there $1 million, here's $5 million. Oh, bring grandma and grandpa. Oh, better go get great uncle and Aunt Martha and all this type of thing. Extended families coming into the United States. Well, here's what happened. Yesterday, a federal judge by the name of Andrew Hannon said, wait a minute, Obama, you can't do that. It's going to create severe hardship on the states. Economic hardship. Why, they're going to be absolutely deluged with people coming in here, and they're going to be on the welfare rolls. They're going to have to figure out where to put them, how to take care of them, and everything else, medical problems, etc. You can't do that. So we put a temporary stay on the amnesty bill. Would I have loved to been on the golf course with Obama when he got the word about federal Judge Andrew Hannon. Now, we probably won't ever hear again from that federal Judge Andrew Hannon. He may be on a plane right now going to a very, very, very cold, desolate region of the world. I have no idea. But I'll tell you this much. He was right. Federal judge said, wait a minute, this amnesty bill is not going to be good for states. It's going to be way too costly for them to bear the brunt of this. And 26 states have filed a lawsuit against this Obama amnesty plan. And I hope they win. I really do. Give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Come on, give me a call. And while I am waiting for your call, I just dropped all my papers into a big pile. That helped. We're going to have a little bit of a weather forecast here real quick, find out what's going to be beautiful outside this morning. We're going to talk about Red's Trading Post at 203 Fifth Avenue South in Twin Falls. Oh, my. They have got all the new selections of firearms from Browning, Beretta, Weatherby, Ruger, Benelli, Smith & Wesson, Winchester. And they got all the ammo and all the accessories. But one thing, too, that Red's Trading Post has, and that is a super staff of people that are so knowledgeable. You just get a hold of them today. Absolutely the best. And they'll help you with all your guns and ammo and accessories. Red's Trading Post, 203 Fifth Avenue South in Twin Falls. Here now, the weather.
Hello, everyone. Mike over there at the ranch. We got a nice week. It's going to be nice sunrises over the Twin Towers, nice evening sunset until you get to Friday night. And then you're going to go back to a slight chance of snow on Friday and also for Saturday. Just want to put that in there. I'm trying to tell you now, just don't buy into it. It's all right. You're getting close to spring. Happens every year when you get close to spring. You get all this nice weather, and all of a sudden it starts raining and snowing. You get mad. You don't want to listen to the weather people. You don't want to listen to anybody because you're ready for spring. High today, 52. Enjoy the weather. See what you got.
All right, Michael, thank you very much. Brought to you by Red's Trading Post, 203 Fifth Avenue South in Twin Falls. Absolutely the best. Come on. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What do you think about the news in general? I mean, this is getting so crazy about ISIS and the expansion of where they're going around the world, and we need to be the world's leader. I heard somebody call in, I can't remember, to my program, probably before Christmas, and they said something, and I really got upset about it. They said, well, we're done being the world's leader. We shouldn't have to be the world's leader. You know what? We have to be. We have to be. Because of our past moral standing and our fiber for what's right and wrong. Nobody else really wants to jump up and kind of lead the band, if you will. Nobody else wants to really kind of keep things going smoothly so that we don't have ISIS and these other terrorists start to rule the world. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
I spent some time down in Las Vegas this winter, so you probably haven't heard, but Harry Reid is going to run for re-election. Have you heard that?
Unfortunately.
Okay. Let me give you my spin on it, and let's see how it turns out. He's 75 years old now.
Yep.
And I'm 77, and I wouldn't want the job. And he doesn't deserve the job. But here's what's going to happen. If he is lucky enough to get reelected, he will serve maybe 1 year, maybe 2 years, and then he'll say he wants to resign. And guess who will take over then? His son, who is an attorney in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
All over again.
I agree. I'm just very, very bitter that one or two areas in the state of Nevada really have put Harry Reid in power. And when you talk to the common folks just like me and you and everybody else in Nevada, they are very bitter against Harry Reid. They're very bitter about his stranglehold on his position. And they're also very bitter for the amount of money and riches and wealth that it has created for his family and others that are near and close to him. I have nothing good to say about Harry Reid. That is one of the most detestable people in politics. Now, there are many, but I'd put him right at the top of the pile for a person that I can't stand.
I agree with you 100%, but mark my word that if he is reelected, which I hope he doesn't get, but if he is reelected, that's exactly the plan that will go into place.
Yeah, I can't argue that. As a matter of fact, I really wasn't surprised at all. Because of his age, a lot of people were saying, oh, he probably won't run. No, the gratuities, the riches, the wealth, the fame, everything else has become customary to this family and to him. And they're not going to leave it. They're not going to let somebody else have it. They're not going to give anything away. They're going to keep it for themselves.
He doesn't live in Las Vegas proper. He lives in Henderson.
Yeah.
Which Henderson now has a population of 225,000.
Mm-hmm.
And the overall valley of Las Vegas Valley, is 2.1 million people.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing I thought was really, really terrible is their mayor, who is Carolyn Goodman, who took her husband's place as mayor of Las Vegas.
Right.
And they want to build a soccer stadium. And she wants to put $58 million into the building of a soccer stadium. And then let the taxpayers pay the rest.
Well, Keith, you know my feelings about soccer, and I have stuck my neck out many, many times, and I've took criticism from a lot of the soccer moms and others in the area. I look at soccer as something to skip over on television. In other words, if I'm channel surfing, I keep right on going. Soccer, to me, is a boring, boring game. I would much rather watch, I think, honestly, a chess match. I am just not a fan of soccer. I know a lot of people are. I don't begrudge them their likes and dislikes. I hope they don't begrudge me mine. But to spend that kind of money on something that I don't think is going to be that well received, I could be wrong, but we'll see what happens.
Well, they were turned down for a national hockey team.
Yeah. All right, Keith.
But, I'd like the pattern that your home state of Wisconsin did. Green Bay Packers.
Yep.
Everybody bought stock in that. That's how they built that stadium.
Yep, and my whole family back in Wisconsin, I guess, and it doesn't mean to sound egotistical, but they are all owners of the Green Bay Packers. Keith, I got to run and do a commercial. Thank you much.
Amen.
All right. You know, that's really true. The ownership of the Green Bay Packers, owned by private citizens. And even like on Fox News, Greta Van Susteren, she's an owner of the Green Bay Packers, bought stock. My aunts, my uncles, everybody in my family back there, basically owners of the Green Bay Packers. That's the way to put it together. And boy, you talk about community pride. Oh, my. Hey, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Ruby, would you do me a favor and stop barking? Thank you very much. Founders Celebration going on at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. In honor of Mr. Les Schwab. What a fantastic man, and of course started this great tire business called the Les Schwab Tire Centers. And right now, all-season tread, economically priced tires, some starting as low as $39.99. Holy cow. And of course, don't forget the very best in brake service, the very best in front-end alignments and shocks and struts, and of course the very best in batteries. Just stop in and they will give you the best in service. Absolutely. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy the old Seahawk fan on Overland and Burley. The best. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give us a jingle. Gina, are you right there still by your microphone for a minute? I just want to ask you a quick question.
What's that?
Quick question. Do we have somebody here? Oh my goodness. George, what's the matter? Are we giving away free food again today?
I gotta check, I'm out.
Hold on a second, Gina. Mr. Freebie walked in, a homeless person from over at Rupert. And George Mass is here with us. George, get real close to that microphone. What do you want? You never show up unless Deanna's finished baking either some kind of bread or biscuits or cookies or something. I don't know.
She baked?
No, she didn't bake.
Well, I got to go. I'll see you later.
And I'm going to lie about it because I know you're coming over to get something. What do you want over here?
Oh, I'm headed to Twin to pick up my taxes.
All the money you made, huh?
Oh, yeah. Between 2013 and now, I've lost $3,000.
Really?
Yep. I usually get about $1,100 back.
Yeah.
I got to pay almost $2,000 this year.
Gee, George, look at that. That tells you and the world that you're an entrepreneur.
I made less money last year than I did the year before.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
And the Obama administration watching you closely.
Yeah, he gets to go on another vacation.
Yeah.
He's been on, 3 of them in 3 months now?
You paid for his golf to California by flipping those burgers in that fancy burger shack you built.
Well, maybe we'll have that fault fall in the ocean. It's not going to be bad.
George. Anyway, what else are you doing here for? I mean, really, the only time you've got a nose for food. I mean, if there is anybody I know that shows up the minute the oven door closes, it's you.
I thought on the way to Twin I'd stop by and see if you or your bride needs anything done up around here.
You know, I can't talk to you now on the air about that, but that was really nice. And you and Don have been so good. I give George Mass a lot of problems, ladies and gentlemen. I try to be an itch that he can't scratch, but he's one of my dearest friends. I just thought I'd throw that in.
Okay, anyway, I'll wait till you break and I'll see if there's anything I can do for you while I'm here.
Okay, buddy, I appreciate it. And George Mass. And then Deanne, yes, he's got an ulterior motive. Start baking the bread. There you go, right?
I'll raid the fridge.
Yeah, you raid the fridge. Okay. Gina, I got to ask you something real quick. You still there?
Yeah, no, I was thinking about bread.
No, I know. Deanne, she's such a good cook.
Deanne, make me some bread.
Oh, my. You know, there is now a big push in Boise and around the state of Wisconsin to give licenses to illegal aliens. The paper this morning tried to dress it up and put a nice frilly counting of it. They said licenses pushed for undocumented immigrants. In other words, illegal aliens,
right.
Driver's license. What are your thoughts about illegal aliens and driver's licenses? I am really not going to bend on this, and I'm not going to accept it.
Well, of course, number one, they shouldn't be here in the first place.
Amen.
And for illegally, and so that's what I'll say about that. I don't know how I feel about that because they need to drive home, and so to drive home, they have to have a driver's license, right?
I look at it, I know where you're headed on this, Gina, but I look at it this way. We are rewarding illegal and illicit activity by caving in and giving these people everything. And here's what I really am bothered about. Once you give somebody an illegal driver's license, what can they use that for that really starts to get me upset?
Oh, getting a Social Security card.
And then?
Citizenship?
And then?
Why do I? They're not going to be taxed, and then we can take their tax dollars.
Yeah, but there's one other thing. They can vote, and they can have the same privileges as you and I as taxpayers and citizens of this country. You give that driver's license, you've got problems.
Now, here in the state of Idaho, I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe that they do not issue driver's licenses to those who are in the country.
It's coming. It's coming. There's a big push. Look at this morning's paper. They're really making a push for the state of Idaho to relax their standards, and that's why I brought it up. I absolutely am not in favor of ever relaxing those standards.
I don't think the state of Idaho will. Honestly, I don't think the state of Idaho will, and which, by the way, let's rewind just a little bit and to the federal judge Hannon.
Yeah.
Good job.
Isn't that the truth? And really, this guy, I think I said his name was Andrew Hannon, to stand up and tell the Obama administration, no, we're not going to let you destroy the communities, not going to let you destroy the state's coffers with an amnesty bill that's literally going to let in millions upon millions of extended family.
Well, let's go back to the original intent of the executive order. He's way overreaching his bounds on the executive order. He can't do that. We've got one quick phone call.
All right, one real fast. I've only got 30 seconds. Go fast.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. Have you heard about what Edison of California is doing? They're laying off 500 of their people, and they're going to bring in 500 of these you-know-what to replace them.
It's going to get worse, my friend. It's going to get worse. Thank you so much for your call. Appreciate it. I got to take a break, got to run to the news. I'll be back in 6. Don't go away. Good morning. Welcome back. Hour number 2, Zeb at the Ranch on a Tuesday, and glad to have you with us. And we thank very much our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And, of course, they do a wonderful job, all 7 locations, our major sponsor. And also our friends and also one of our great advertisers, Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho,
I'll tell you what, Western Waste Services always at your disposal. 734-6969. Get on the route service, and I'll guarantee you're going to be so happy that you did. We've been on it for a long, long time. You can almost set your watch by those folks. Getting rid of your garbage. Don't forget, too, they've got all the dumpsters and the porta potties and just everything to make sure that you're happy. Locally owned and operated Western Waste Services at your disposal. 734-6969. Also want to say a big thank you to some other folks that have been on our program for a long, long time, and that's Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert with Joel Heward, the manager, and his staff and family. Everybody serving you and your family. Very flexible hours. They are there when you need them to be, and they can travel to rural towns and churches to help you with the arrangements when there's the passing of a loved one. Service. That's what they try to provide for you 24/7. Joel Heward, Hanson Mortuary, always with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Call them today at 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary in Rupert. Right now we're going to go to the phone lines, and I don't think I have ever met this gentleman personally, face-to-face, but I've got a lot of respect for him, and I'll tell you why. He speaks his mind, and he stands up for morality and what the Bible says. And there's not a lot of people left in this world that will do that because they're so afraid of what their neighbors and their business might think, etc. Carter Killinger, thank you for being on the program this morning from Filer. Is he there? Hello?
Yes, he's on the line.
Hello, Carter, can you hear me? Where is he? Carter, answer me. Are you there?
Hold on just a second.
All right. We'll see if we can't get him rounded up on that telephone. And hopefully we'll get him on the air here momentarily. Maybe he was having a little hard time hearing me. I don't know. And Gina will let me know. I'll tell you what, I'll do a quick commercial, and then hopefully he'll be ready to go. Carter, if you can hear me, stand by. I'll be right with you. Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Don't forget, look for the blue door. And they've got everything over there for you, the best in kitchen construction and flooring, and they've got every item to make your house a home. You get a hold of them today, open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 10 to 4. Cheney Flooring and Home Design, bringing you the weather every morning when I start things off at about 8:07, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley, Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Gina, did we get a hold of him?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Carter, good morning to you. Carter Killinger, good to have you on the program.
I can hardly hear you at all, Zeb.
Well, I hope you can hear me now.
I can hear your secretary, but it's very difficult to hear you.
All right, well, we'll do the best we can. Evidently, we must have a bad phone line or something. Carter, I wanted to get you on the program because what I said earlier when I introduced you is really the truth. You stand up for morality, and you stand up for basically the slogan of my program, the way things were are the way things ought to be. And there's a lot of things that people are trying to change in the state of Idaho and this country, and one of them, of course, with gay marriage and the gay and lesbian and transgender lifestyle, and I salute you for standing up and fighting it.
Okay, I'm going to, someone just came in, I'm going to see if he can turn the volume up so I can hear better. Okay, I don't, your secretary I could hear, but...
I cannot bump up the volume to anything higher than what they already are. We're going to get feedback.
Evidently, we have got a bad phone line or something, Carter, and I can't help that on the phone, but if you can hear me at all, just go ahead and respond to what I said. If not...
I wonder, maybe you could dial 731-7094.
Okay, we'll try that. We'll try that. 731-7094. We'll give you a call back and see if it's better. All right, thank you. Sometimes, depending on the phone system, etc., and it's real low, they can't hear us, and if we turn it up...
It depends on whether they have hearing aids or not.
Yeah, and also, you know, if we turn it up too much, then we're going to have feedback, and we can't have that. So we'll try another line, and if it doesn't work, we'll have to forego our conversation. That's unfortunate, too, because I was really looking to have him on our program this morning, so we'll try that with the number 731-7094 and see if we can get him on the line so that he can hear us this morning. And in the interim, don't forget too, Thursday is Lunch Bunch Day at Denny's Restaurant in Burley, and we also want to say thank you to Walmart, Hanson Mortuary, and Smith's Food King, as they have been one of our big supporters. All three have been big supporters of the Lunch Bunch with the various door prizes, etc., and we're going to have a little special there this Thursday in regards to Valentine's Day. So everybody try to be there at 11:30 at Denny's Restaurant. Let's check with Gina and see if we've got Mr. Killinger back on the program. Is he there?
Yep, I got him.
All right. Carter, can you hear me any better?
A little bit.
All right, well, we're going to have to do the best we can with this phone this morning.
Okay.
But now, here's what
Your secretary came in loud and clear.
Well, yeah, but she's talking on a direct line, and we're talking down the line to me, so let's not even worry about that right now. What I wanted to have you on the program about is, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, that you are one of the last people that I know in this area that has the intestinal fortitude to stand up and say and talk about morality, and I'd like you to comment on what's been happening in this state with the gay, lesbians, and transgenders, where they're trying to force the concept of add the words. Why are you against it like I am?
Okay, first of all, I'm a Christian. I've accepted Jesus Christ as my Savior. He is my commander, and He has given us, we're supposed to stand in the gap. We're supposed to represent our commander, and God is our commander. And He has it plainly written in the Bible, which is God's instruction book for life for man, that this gay marriage and this homosexuality is definitely against the Bible. It's in Romans chapter 2. A person can look it up and read it. And as Jesus went to the cross, He stood up for us and died that we might have our sins forgiven and have eternal life. Why should we have rubber in our neck and not stand up to the principles of God?
I agree.
It makes His plan very plain in the Bible. And if anybody treasures their Bible at all and they don't like that part, they can take a razor blade or scissors or just rip those pages out of the Bible and say, well, it's not in my Bible because I've ripped it out. It's not there. But in my Bible, it's there. It calls it wickedness. And who are we to argue with God?
You know, that was very well said, Carter, and I'd like to add a little bit to it, and then you can respond to what my feelings are. You know, the gay, lesbian, and transgender lifestyle is one that is, they're not apologizing for, nor are they asking for forgiveness. And when, I don't know about you, but every night when I lay down, I kind of tell the good Lord how sorry I am for some of the sins that I've committed during the day, and I do my best not to repeat those sins the next day. But these people of that particular following, they just say, oh, well, God loves me just the way I am, and they keep on going with it. Isn't that right?
Yes, that's right. Now, if a person thinks about it, we all have free agency, and we all have areas of strength and areas of weakness. And I've talked to pastors, and I said, by nature are all men whoremongers, and are all women whores. And by nature, that's the nature of man to do these things, but that doesn't make it right. It's our nature to lie. It's our nature to steal. It's our nature to commit adultery. It's in our nature to kill people. But God's supposed to have control in our life, that we don't do this, that we can exercise our free agency to please God.
You know, Carter, why is it that when you say these things, and I've said much of the same on my radio program, that we are hated, we're called bigots, we're called hate mongers? Boy, there's sure a bunch of people out there that don't like our freedom of speech, do they?
Well, the reason for that is the thought police. And they try to categorize us as being hate mongers. But that's not what we are. The Bible says God is not willing that any perish, but all come to repentance. That means if I have a sinful thought of lying, if I have a sinful thought of lust, if somebody offends me and I feel like killing them, that's not God's plan. We're to exercise our free agency to reject what comes natural.
What about this administration, Carter? We could go on, but ever since 2008, I have been very, very concerned about the downfall of our morals, our right and our wrongs in our society, and it seems like with this Obama administration, we're in a downhill slide. They're exacerbating the problem. Would you agree?
Yes. You know, the Bible says righteousness exalteth a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. How can we sing, God bless America, when we murder millions of babies and we condone wicked behavior? Mm-hmm. God bless America? What a joke if we live that way.
We're going through some real problems right now in this country because of a lack of leadership, and we're also seeing a very evil group, ISIS and Al-Qaeda, and the beheadings and the burnings and the killings are getting worse, and they're spreading around different countries in the globe, and this country is doing nothing under this administration. What are your thoughts about what we should be doing right now?
Well, it's history written in advance in the Bible that these things would happen, wars and rumors of wars, and it's just prophecy being fulfilled as the things that are happening today. And I remember when I came back from Germany back in, I guess 76, when I came back, there was things going on, and if you read I read in the Reader's Digest how that we was training Arabs to pilot planes, to commercial planes, and look what happened when they learned how to fly these big jets. They hijacked them and flew into the Twin Towers and destroyed them. And we've had continual reports in the news of what the Muslims' goal is to rule the world. Mm-hmm. And we have people that have rubber in their neck. They will not stand up for righteousness. They think about being politically correct. Well, being politically correct and having our nation go down the tube, that's just a natural consequence of not standing up for righteousness.
I agree with you. And we have a caller with a question, and stand by. If you can't hear it, I'll paraphrase it. Caller, real quick, please.
Yes, want to thank Carter for standing up for Christian principles, but I'd like him to comment about the Obama's prayer breakfast, deal about condemning Christians and his overall attack on Christians and showing his Muslim roots.
All right.
About that, thank you.
All right, thank you very much for the call. Did you hear that, Carter?
I sure did.
Okay, go ahead and respond, please.
I would like to comment a little bit about some of the framers and founders of our Constitution. James Madison, known as the father of the Constitution, stated, "We have staked our whole of all our political institutions upon the capacity of mankind for self-government, upon the capacity of each and all of us to govern ourselves according to the Ten Commandments of God." James Madison, back at the founding of the Constitution. Patrick Henry said, "It cannot be emphasized so strongly or too often that this great nation was founded not by religionists, but by Christians, not on religions, but on the gospel of Jesus Christ. Since 1977, every session of Congress has begun with prayer." Mm-hmm. We have a great nation, and these people coming in are trying to destroy it. The first Supreme Court Justice John Jay said Americans should select and prefer Christians as their rulers. A person needs to go to these Republican meetings, and we need Christians to be the precinct committee men that have a checklist that when you nominate people for office, that they've gone through this checklist, and we have people that will stand up for righteousness. We don't want, and we want people of moral conviction. You can get people, you can get minions that will say they want to do what the people want to do. I want to know a candidate, what they stand for in their heart, that they will not be swayed by public opinion, that the people can know that they stand for certain principles. That's it. And if these are Christian principles that support things that come out of the Bible and things that come out of our Constitution, that's the candidates that we want.
Yeah.
And you notice that I said go to the Republican meetings. Historically, it seems like the Democrats have, of course, we've had some queers in the Republican Party, but they're more prevalent in the Democratic Party, and just the social programs of this Democratic Party just seems to tear down the conservative values that our nation should be based on.
Carter, let me ask you this, and I want your feelings on what Obama did at the National Prayer Breakfast, a little bit more explicit. He seems to be an Islamic sympathizer. He seems to find all kinds of excuses not to call the Islamic Jihad really what it is. And when he said, well, lest we get on our high horse about 1,000 years ago with the Crusades, etc., the United States of America was only formed better than 250 years ago. Why does he always have to come out with something that basically denigrates America and Christians in this country?
Okay, I missed some of that. President Reagan, after when he was first inaugurated, I think within hours, Iran released 40-some, I think it was 40-some or 50-some prisoners that had been incarcerated for 400 days, over 400 days, and they recognized Reagan as one that's responsible or had a big part in tearing down the Berlin Wall. They recognized a man of conviction, a man that would stand up for righteousness and freedom, and this Cold War came to nothing after President Reagan came into office. And we need strong leaders. We don't need people that vacillate. And I didn't understand much of what President Obama said during the prayer breakfast. But if you go to, I think it's Esther, in the book of Esther, you find where the king was going to, I forget the guy's name. He had put a decree before the king that all the Jews would be annihilated. And Esther's uncle came to her, she was a queen, and said that, who knows from what you've come to the throne for such a time as this. And she was able to talk to the king, approach the king, risking her life, and the king was able to do something to keep the Jews from being annihilated at that time. And Governor Otter, trying to buck the Supreme Court in this same-sex marriage deal, who knows? But what God didn't bring Governor Otter to be governor at such a time as this. Yeah. In today's newspaper, we have somebody that's is trying to. Let's see, I had the article here.
I'm almost, Carter, listen to me. I'm almost out of time. I've only got 3 minutes left in this segment. So let me just...
to get the... what the judges are interpreting the Constitution right now. Resolution calls for impeachment of activist judges.
Right.
And this is prompted largely by recent court rulings on gay marriage. An Idaho House committee voted Monday to introduce a resolution calling for the impeachment of federal judges who don't follow the original intent of the Constitution.
Absolutely.
The sponsor, Representative Paul Shepard, the Republican in Reagan, said judges who read things into the Constitution that weren't intended by the Founding Fathers are breaking their oaths of office. And right now, they're trying the Supreme Court trying to rule that Idaho's law is unconstitutional. They're going against morality. Yeah. Morality is God created man and woman.
Let me interrupt you, Carter. Wait a minute. Let me interrupt you there. I'm almost out of time.
To rule against morality, that's something horrible.
Absolutely. Carter, I've only got a minute left, so make this answer really, really short. When you look at morality from when you and I were kids to where it is now, what do you think about looking into the crystal ball in the next 10 years? This country really has lost sight of right and wrong. Give me a short answer what you look for to happen if we don't turn things around.
We definitely need revival in this country to where people turn to God for the direction in their life. Otherwise, our nation will be destroyed. The thing that we learn from history is that we do not learn. That's what history teaches us.
Yeah. Absolutely. Carter Killinger, I'm going to have you back on the program again sometime in the near future. Thank you so much for being on the air with us this morning, and I really appreciate you having the backbone to stand up for your convictions. Thank you very much.
Thank you for letting me talk.
You betcha. God bless you, sir. Thank you very much. You know, I wanted to get Mr. Killinger on the air this morning to absolutely show that there are still people that have convictions about right and wrong and morality, and they're not going to bend in the wind for political correctness. And I salute him for having the convictions of his thoughts, and many of which he's put in the newspaper and let other people read. And I thank him for coming on the program. Okay, let's see. Let's ride. Oh, boy, they've got a lot of fun going over there at Highway 24, 270 Highway 24, between Rupert and Heyburn. This is where the fun is sold. Oh, my goodness sakes, they've got all the Skidoo snowmobiles. Still plenty of time to get up on the hills. You better believe it. And they've got rebates on dirt bikes. Great time to buy. And also, don't forget, all the accessories are on sale. And take your four-wheelers over there and get them all serviced and ready to go. Spring is just around the corner. Yep, that's where it is. The fun is sold at Let's Ride, Highway 24, between Rupert and Heyburn, Rupert and Burley, however you want to say it. Absolutely good folks at Let's Ride. Also want to acknowledge the fact about our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance. And they're located on Highway 24 over in Rupert. When you're over in that neck of the woods, stop in, make an appointment about your life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and much, much more. From Dean Cameron and Todd Siemens, very dedicated and responsive to your needs. The best for a successful future, Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Highway 24 in Rupert, 436-4424. Really good folks. Let's ask Gina if our next guest is ready to go over at our studio. We'll check with Gina and see if she's got him on the line. Communications specialist for Idaho Power, Brad Boland.
They're calling back from their conference room, so I'm just waiting for them to dial in.
You know, we might explain a little bit. Every phone line is a little bit different, and certain areas are a little bit different, and with the quality. And we do the best we can so that our callers can hear all right. But if we get it too loud, the feedback, you might explain that quickly, Gina, the feedback will just tear your ears off.
Well, it's kind of like, equate this. When we get a caller that has their radio on, and you hear that.
Absolutely.
It's the same thing with the phone lines. And so it's a lot of times, I mean, all of my levels are set here, but a lot of it is dictated by that other caller's phone.
Yeah.
And so if they don't have their phone, their volume all the way up, or even if they're wearing hearing aids, and I'm not, hacking on anybody because they have, because I'm hard of hearing too, but if they have their hearing aids too low, then they can't hear as well. And then, it's just a complicated set of pieces of equipment that we have to run.
Well, one other thing I'd like to throw in about people with hearing aids, and Lord help us, we may all reach a point in our lives where we have to have a hearing aid. And then when they go to turn them up, we can have also, because of the increased volume, a real severe beep or shrill on the air. So we've got to be really careful about that.
Yeah, and so it's like, it's kind of like playing a piano here at the board, and so I'm constantly adjusting levels as best I can.
Right.
But, if people can't hear, there's really not much I can do. I can't bump up the levels any more than what they already are, or we're just going to have a terrible sounding radio show.
I understand. And let's check and see, did they call back in?
They are ready to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, with Idaho Power, and I believe they're calling from up in the Boise area, I'd like to say a good morning to Brad Boland and Sean Parkinson. Gentlemen, are you there?
Yes, we are.
You're on one of those blasted speakerphones, so we'll do the best we can to hear you on the air and on the program. And who am I talking to right now? Both of you together or one person?
No, we're both here.
Okay.
Brad Boland and Sean Parkinson, and this is Sean.
All right. Hi, Sean. Really do appreciate you gentlemen coming on the program this morning, because I've had a lot of questions about cloud seeding and the involvement of Idaho Power. Tell us a little bit about the program of cloud seeding, and how long has it been going on through Idaho Power here in the state of Idaho?
We started investigating cloud seeding back in the 90s as a result of some extended drought in the late 80s, early 90s, and really we were looking at it as a way to augment our water supplies to fuel our hydro system. Our current program became operational in 2003. The initial effort was focused in the Payette. It's grown from that initial program that had 7 ground generators and an aircraft to 17 generators in the Payette, with an aircraft that's using flares that gives us the ability to release a lot more of the seeding agent.
Okay. Now, I think before we go any further, either of you or both of you could probably explain a little bit. When people hear cloud seeding and they go, what in the world is it? What do they do? How do they do it? What utensils or what materials? Give us a little explanation as to what really it is.
So the first thing that we need before we can effectively seed clouds is a storm, and in our case, we're seeding winter storms. We're augmenting snowpack. So we need a winter storm system that has an abundance of water in it, liquid water in it. And all we're really doing with cloud seeding is encouraging that liquid water to freeze and fall out as precipitation. Without that additional encouragement from the seeding agent, which is silver iodide, that water would just pass over the watershed. By adding the silver iodide at an appropriate time, we can increase the snowfall from those storms by 5 to 15%.
Now, you say that basically you're kind of weather watchers, and correct me if my terminology is not correct, but you're kind of weather watchers, and when you see a storm coming through this area that's going to jump over the Sierras and come in this area of Magic Valley, that's when you make plans in kind of a hurry to seed those clouds?
So we have, of sorts, we're weather watchers. We have 3 full-time atmospheric scientists that are watching weather conditions. We've got some of our own instrumentation available that gives empirical information as to what the weather conditions are. We watch the available information that comes from the federal systems, and we have some of our own computer models that are run at the University of Arizona. And when all those things together tell the scientists that the conditions are becoming conducive to seed clouds, they get prepared for the operations to release the silver iodide from our ground generators, and also, if it's appropriate, we get the aircraft on standby to get ready to seed the clouds from the air.
Okay, now, gentlemen, you say you do this, maybe I heard wrong, but primarily for the snowstorms that are coming in, not for the rain in the summertime. Did I hear you wrong, or is that the good synopsis?
No, that's a good synopsis.
And why is...
Go ahead.
No, please, go ahead, finish your thought on that, please.
The primary reason for that is the bulk of our precipitation comes in the winter months.
Okay.
And to be ready to operate all summer long, which would primarily be with an aircraft, it's just not as cost effective.
I guess the question...
What we're looking to do, Zeb, is build that high mountain snowpack that provides runoff later in the season. That's our primary goal.
Okay, now, when you talk about cloud seeding, and basically, to some respect, I'll play the devil's advocate on this a little bit, it almost sounds like you're trying to play God. Have you answered that question? I mean, is there anything dangerous about this and basically altering weather patterns? Has that been asked, and how would you answer that?
There's a couple of responses that jump to mind there. One of the primary questions that comes up whenever you're taking on cloud seeding is, well, what are the downwind effects? Are you robbing Peter to pay Paul? Are you going to deprive a downwind area of precipitation? And the research that's been done to date indicates that downwind effects are either neutral or positive for a distance of up to 1 to 200 miles. Mm-hmm. So there aren't downwind negative effects in terms of less water supply. The other question that can come up is silver iodide dangerous? Is it adding toxic materials to the watershed? Silver iodide is insoluble in water. It's analogous to like trying to dissolve sand. It will dissolve in very, very, very slowly, but it's essentially not dissolvable, and it is inert. It's not toxic to aquatic organisms or to humans or anything else. one thing that we do find is that some people, they'll go out and they'll find that there is an ionic form of silver that can be toxic to aquatic life. That's not the form of silver that we're using.
How basically effective is cloud seeding? I mean, I read the information that you sent to me, and I looked up some other information. And percentage-wise, from 1 to 100%, what are the percentages of success?
Cloud seeding, a storm that is conducive to being seeded, can increase snowpack 5 to 15%.
All right, 5 to 15%. Now, let's go back and look at like the situation with California, Northern California and the San Joaquin Valley, all the way from Clovis back up to Tulare, et cetera, in that area, going through a severe drought. Now, did they try to do any cloud seeding down in that area that might have also benefited us?
Not that well. Cloud seeding California has a number of cloud seeding projects. I'm not sure exactly where those projects lay relative to that drought area you mentioned. But I will say that cloud seeding is not a drought mitigation tool. It's only effective when you have existing storms to seed. So if there are drought conditions, which generally mean a lack of storms, there's really not going to be many, if any, cloud seeding opportunities.
Okay, now I'll play devil's advocate again with you. Will cloud seeding, will it hurt other areas? Let's say that we're on the same weather pattern as far as the winds, etc., blowing from west to east. Would it do anything to affect our neighboring states, maybe as far back in the Midwest as maybe Wisconsin and Minnesota? Will it alter their patterns of possibly getting rain and snow?
No. The atmosphere is a very dynamic environment, and when you go through all of the math of how much effect we're having on the water supply in the atmosphere, it's less than 1% of the available water in the atmosphere above the watershed that we're seeding, and all of that gets lost in the dynamic noise as those weather systems move across the continent. If anything, like I mentioned before, the effect could be a positive or an increase in precipitation 100 to 200 miles downwind.
Mm-hmm. Now, are you, on behalf of Idaho Power, is this program kind of in the fledgling stages? Is it something that you've done, you said, since, I believe, 2003, but have you got formulated plans to increase the use of cloud seeding in the future?
Yeah, like I said, we started our cloud seeding efforts focused in the Payette Basin in 2003. That program grew from 7 to 17 remote generators and an aircraft. In 2008, we started collaborating with the High Country RC&D in eastern Idaho to augment their existing program that was exclusively manual generators. And now we've got 20 generators in the Upper Snake, 21 generators in the Upper Snake. And just this last year, we've expanded into the Wood River and Boise River basins, collaborating with irrigators in both of those basins. And with the addition of the Boise and Wood basins, we've added a second aircraft. So we have a total of 2 aircraft that are able to seed or target storms that are going to put snow in the Payette, Boise, or Wood River basins.
Let me ask you this, and maybe it's not even related, but I have to ask this question because of various stories that are in the news right now. There has been a lot regarding climate engineering. There has been a lot from the left that is saying that climate change, we're all burning up and we've got to change the climate, and they want to engineer the climate to try to make it colder. Would some of these same techniques be used in that regard? And once you alter the climate, that could be devastating for the future, could it not?
You know, I'm not very well versed in all of those theories, so I'm not probably the best person to address that.
I can see both of you guys raising your eyebrows and trying to figure out who's going to answer that question.
Well, I think one of the things about that is, as Sean indicated, that the impacts of cloud seeding are pretty, short-term and confined to a pretty small geographic area. There have been other places where they've used various types of cloud seeding, like in China and some other places, to mitigate fog, to try to get the moisture to fall out of the sky.
Right.
As rain or snow to eliminate fog and that sort of thing. But in terms of having a large-scale impact, I don't know that anybody has even really looked at that.
One of our scientists, Derek Lester, just stepped in, and he can probably offer a little more than I could.
All right, let's.
This is Derek. That's a tough question to actually answer. I'm not an expert on the climate things, but I can take a stab at it. I've read a few articles recently. Some of them is trying to increase the height of basically thunderstorms and cumulus clouds to try to reduce the amount of sunlight that hits the earth, to try to cool the earth and that sort of thing. The problem is that once you cloud seed in the summertime with the cumulus clouds, those actually grow a little bit. They produce cirrus clouds. Cirrus clouds actually work as the opposite. It keeps heat trapped in, that sort of thing. So you're trying to basically get a reduced amount of sunlight to the earth, but it's going to probably be a net zero once you're done because of the cirrus and how the cumulus clouds interact with each other. I read an article this morning, actually, where some people are speculating that some foreign countries like Russia and North Korea are in the process of trying to put mirrors up in the atmosphere to try to cool the earth. I don't know how that would work either. It's a totally different form of engineering than what we're doing here on the cloud seeding part. We're very small scale, and what they're talking about there is very wide scale effects. So,
but I think you gentlemen will agree with me that when you talk about cloud seeding, I would be amiss if I didn't bring this up, because those stories about a federal report saying that they're trying to purposely cool the planet, those are questions that go right along with possibly cloud seeding, and the federal government with the Obama administration is looking into that. So that's why I asked that question, and I thank you for stepping in and giving some clarification. So in essence, what you're saying, science right now, it doesn't look feasible.
No, it doesn't. Not with what we're doing in the scale of things. It's to affect a global pattern. It's so intense, so massive that I don't see any way humanly possible for us to be able to do that.
Now, I want to go back and talk a little bit about the snowpack. We've had I wouldn't say an unusual winter, but we've had a fairly dry winter for snow. What is the status right now for the possibility of much more seeding before our snow year ends? Are you making plans right now for more flights to seed these clouds? Because we don't have that much snow up on the hill.
We're watching the weather, and whenever there are storms that have the liquid water that would be conducive to seed, we'll be ready to seed. Our seeding season goes into April, and any storms that come between now and April will be ready and willing to seed those.
All right. Well, I want to thank you all for being on the program, and I really appreciate Idaho Power and my good friend Dan Olmsted for setting this all up, because I had questions about cloud seeding, and you seem to have all the material and all the information about what's going on, what's safe, and what's being done, so I thank you much for being on the show this morning.
Thanks, I appreciate you having us.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Members of Idaho Power, and I was having just a little hard time hearing them on that speakerphone, but cloud seeding has been used since 2003 to help the snowpack primarily. They weren't talking about any summer storms. They go through April in trying to get some of the storms to drop more snow here in this area. But you know, I got to come out and say this, that when I looked at this report by the federal government this last week, and I'm just going to throw this in here real quick. 2 stories were in the paper, both they were in many, many newspapers, but primarily I saw it in our Times News locally. The headlines were Risks of Climate Engineering Weighed as Last-Ditch Solution. And then the other headline said, Federal report, time to examine purposely cooling the planet. And all of this just really kind of gives me goosebumps because they're starting to play God. And they were saying how they want to have more blocking of the sun's rays. And to me, that's insanity. However, after reading and studying about the cloud seeding program with Idaho Power to help drop more moisture in the form of snow up into our mountain areas for the melting in the spring and more water for all purposes, sounds like a good program that they've been doing since 2003. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. We better get a caller. Bear with me 60 seconds. Please don't hang up. I'll get your call in just a minute. I need to get the weather in here, and the weather is sponsored this hour by Riverview Urgent Care and Medical Center, and they're located at 382 North Overland in Burley. Absolutely minor emergencies, major care. They will see you today. Number to call, 678-6996. Don't forget, Riverview Urgent Care and Medical Center, absolutely the best. Here now, Michael Rogers weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rizib at the ranch. You got a nice see some of these nice sunrises over the Twin Towers, nice evening sunset until you get to Friday night. And then you're going to go back to a slight chance of snow on Friday and also for Saturday. Just want to put that in there. I'm trying to tell you now, just don't buy into it. It's all right. You're getting close to spring. Happens every year when you get close to spring. You get all this nice weather, and all of a sudden it starts raining and snowing. You get mad. You don't want to listen to the weather people. You don't want to listen to anybody because you're ready for spring. High today, 52. Enjoy the weather, assuming weather you got.
All right, Michael, thank you very much. Don't forget, Riverview Urgent Care and Medical Center. Absolutely for ear infections, sprains, strains, and fractures, and primarily used to treat patients who have an injury or illness that requires immediate attention. You be sure and get a hold of them today. They will see you today. Minor emergencies, major care at Riverview Urgent Care and Medical Center, 382 North Overland in Burley, 678-6996. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
You know, they can fly all they want with that dry ice and these clouds, but if you want a good thunderstorm in that, just let me wash 2 vehicles the same day and you'll have 4 days of it. That's the truth.
Oh, I know of what you speak. Every single time I wash my pickup, my car, or my trailer, look out, you're going to get a deluge.
You remember last year when we had, 4 days of rain?
Yeah.
I washed the wife's car and my pick-em-up truck, and holy cow, did we have thunderstorms.
You know, let me ask you, what were your thoughts about the cloud seeding program? Are you pro or con on that?
That dates way back to when the pioneers started and they started shooting cannons and all that crap. Yeah. It's just, to me, it's just a bunch of baloney.
Well, they claim, percentage-wise, that they can increase the snowpack. I think he said from 5 to 15%, given the severity of the storm that's coming through, and if they get a chance to seed it. But you know what I'm going back to, Al, and I'll throw this at you real quick. It's almost like they're trying to play God.
That's right, man. You can't do it.
Yeah.
Mama Nature knows what she's going to dump, where to dump it, and when to dump it. So just leave it alone and pray for a little bit of rain more.
All right. Al, appreciate your call. Thank you so much.
Have a good one.
What do you folks think about cloud seeding? I've got mixed emotions on this. As I said, I was having a hard time trying to hear them on that speakerphone. But mixed emotions. And then I'm also a little worried about the federal government. And they're trying to inject sulfur pollution high up in the air to reflect the sun's heat. All of this sounds like a science fiction movie, but they're doing that, and I'm not talking about cloud seeding right now for snow. I'm talking about what the federal government is trying to do or think they might do to purposely cool the planet. And like Al just said, they're not God. Leave it alone. Everything has been and probably will remain cyclical. Okay? Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. While I'm waiting for your call that I know is coming in, do not forget about Parkview Rehabilitation and Care Center at 2303 Park Avenue in Burley. Number to call, 677-3073. These are the nicest people, and believe me, it's a nursing home. It provides medical nursing service for seniors with serious illnesses or disabilities 24 hours a day. Absolutely. And they never forget that you're the valued guest and the reason that they're here. And they recently were awarded a 5-star rating from the government, the highest rating awarded to skilled nursing facilities. Please call them and ask questions, and that number is 677-3073. Once again, 677-3073, Parkview Rehabilitation and Care Center. Really nice people. All right, your turn. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Gina, are you in favor of all the cloud seeding and all that other stuff that's going on, or do you kind of agree like me, kind of out of our realm?
I think it's a little bit out of our realm. I don't think that we should be messing with Mother Nature and with the environment, because the more things that we put out there, the more things that we are going to ingest eventually.
Did you read, though, those stories that I keep referring to about the federal government and a report about how they just want to go ahead with NASA and other groups and try to reflect the sun's heat away from us? Can you imagine, if that was possible, how devastating that could be for mankind and agriculture and everything else?
Oh, I think that they're already doing that.
Not proven that it's effective, but I'm not going to put it past anybody for trying, and we might never know.
Yeah. Again, I will go back and just say, you know what, we're messing with Mother Nature. We're messing with the environment, and we do not know the long-term effects of messing with such things. We have no right to do that.
Well, when you talk about engineering climate, and you talk about changing the human lifestyle and the human environment, once you've changed it, there is no going back. In other words, once you let somebody alter the temperature, once you let somebody change the weather in a region or the blocking of the sun's rays, do you realize how devastating that could be for not only food production for the world, but our environment? I mean, how we live, where we live, everything could be absolutely thrown into a chaos.
The effects of what that could do is unknown.
Yeah.
And so basically, you know, we're changing the weather here, which is also going to change the weather elsewhere. And so we really have to be mindful about, you know, what we're doing to the environment. Am I in favor of it? Not really. I don't know enough about it. It just kind of scares me, though. I don't think we should be messing with the environment.
When I read this story the other day, and I was talking about it on the air with James Taylor with the Heartland Institute, the planet's climate as a they want to re-engineer the planet's climate. I'm talking about the federal report. I'm not talking about Idaho Power right now with cloud seeding. This is an entirely different thing, but in some respects, they're related. They want to change the climate and battle what they are worried about global warming, but they want to turn it to a point where maybe the Northwest would be so cold we couldn't grow anything.
Well, I think honestly what they want to, if they truly want to make a positive effect, they need to contain Fukushima.
Yeah. Absolutely.
They really do need to contain Fukushima, because that is polluting the entire Pacific Ocean, and it's going to eventually pollute us as well.
And the effects of what happened there will never totally be known for years to come.
Oh, decades.
And that's right.
Yeah.
We're going to get ready to leave. I wanted to remind everybody that next hour, Dr. History will be a long-distance call all the way up from Coeur d'Alene. He's up there helping one of his family members. And and we'll have Dr. History on, and that's going to be brought to you by Minnecash Sales. Then a very interesting 10:30 segment. We're going to have a gentleman that's been seen by many of us as a national weatherman. His name is Brian Sussman, and he's got a brand new video out called It's Easy Being Green, and he's going to be talking about how the greenies and environmental groups and governments are trying to control us through the green energy movement. So it's going to be really interesting this next hour. Don't miss a minute of it. Zeb at the Ranch, and I'll be back in about 6 minutes. Don't you go away. Good morning and welcome back. Hour number 3, Zeb at the Ranch, and I was listening to Brock, and he said today is Fat Tuesday. When you're a little corpusely like I am through the winter months, every Tuesday is Fat Tuesday. Anyway, welcome back. Zeb at the Ranch, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And, of course, some of our great advertisers, including Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service today. Call Kelly and the crew, locally owned and operated, 734-6969. Before we get our guest on for this half hour, I want to remind everybody about the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley, and today, pork and apple salad. Oh, does that sound good? Over a spring mix salad with soup for just $8.95. Ooh, pork and apple salad over spring mix lettuce. You're going to love it, along with all the other menu items at the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. You stop in and see those good folks today, okay? Oh, by the way, real quick, too, Deanne's going to be talking to A Child's World and Ambulatory Surgery Center a little bit later on this morning. And, of course, on Thursdays, they provide a segment called Cassia County School Days on our program. And first and foremost, A Child's World with everything for the young ones. That's right, all the baby material, the clothing, everything else, along with also for the adults, Cherokee and Dickey Scrubs. They've got it all for you right there at 1308 Overland in Burley. The number to call, 878-8222, A Child's World. And also Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland in Burley. And they now have, as we've told you many, many times, a doctor, a well-known foot surgeon that's at Ambulatory Surgery Center by the name of Dr. Michael Coughlin. So if you're having any foot problems, be sure and give them a call at 677-8888. Ambulatory Surgery Center and A Child's World, bringing you on Thursdays, Cassia County School Days. Right now it's time for Dr. History, and Dr. History is brought to everybody by Minnecash Sales, 1321 East Main in Burley, and they're right across from the Burley Airport. They've got it all. Windows, doors, garage doors, lumber, metal siding, vinyl siding, all the Tartar Ranch and farm equipment. Holy cow! Zach and Joanne serving you at Minnecash Sales, and we say good morning to Dr. History.
Good morning, Zeb. How you doing this morning?
I am fantabulous. How are you way up north?
You know, you're breaking up quite a bit. I'm just wondering if you can hear me okay.
Oh, you're coming through fine. You're coming through fine.
Okay, as long as I'm coming through okay, you're kind of sporadic, but what's new, right?
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Okay. So how you doing today?
I am fantastic. What are we going to be talking about today, Dr. History?
Well, you know, as you think about a river that runs right past you and I, the good old Snake River, I've got 2 stories. We'll go with one, and if we have time, we'll hit the second one. So I've got a couple of stories that happened right here in southern Idaho along the Snake River.
Okay.
Now, one of them has to do with some people call it a myth called Bigfoot. Have you ever heard of Bigfoot?
Well, I was on the same basketball team with him.
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you about a Bigfoot, a real live Bigfoot.
Okay. And give me a break in about...
Storytellers, in midsummer, about 1863, 3 men were riding along the Snake River searching for some stray horses, and a guy by the name of Ben Cook, he said, look, he said to his partners, John Wheeler and Frank Johnson, they reined in the horses around and came back to this sandbar. Well, the 3 riders got off their horses, and they formed a circle as they stared down at the huge footprints. twice before, Frank Johnson had measured the prints, once along the shoreline of the Payette River, and again several years later along the Boise River. Now, incredibly, they measured 18 inches from heel to toe. Now, that's a big foot.
Yes, it is. Shaquille O'Neal.
Now, the fresh footprints indicated the legendary Bigfoot was nearby.
Mm-hmm.
Now, each man began calculating his share of the money. There was a reward of $1,000 for Bigfoot. So they figured $1,000 split three ways. That sounded pretty good. So following the tracks downstream, they soon caught sight of Bigfoot. He was a buckskin-clad giant of a man. Now, to the north of where he was lay the entrance to Hell's Canyon, which, you know, the sides of that are so steep that a mountain sheep has trouble finding a foothold. Now, to the west flowed the Snake River, which at that area, the currents are bad, the undertows, the swift water, made swimming or fording the river pretty much impossible. Now, to the east rose a kind of a sagebrush ground, an area that kind of gentle foothills and pretty easy riding. So the riders prepared to chase down Bigfoot across this area. Well, Bigfoot heard the riders approaching, but instead of heading for open country, he just plunged into the Snake River. Now, the three men stared in disbelief as he easily swam through the churning water, the white water, and climbed to the bank on the Oregon side of the river. Now, John Wheeler said, well, let's head up the river. There's a ferry called Old's Ferry. And so they took off. We'll head him off up there, he said. So by the time the men raced their horses the 5 miles to the ferry, of course, their horses were tired and winded, and now the $1,000 reward didn't seem like such a sure thing. But anyway, they weren't ready to give up the chase. So once across the river, they doubled back along the Oregon bank. Now, about 5 miles downstream, they found a smoldering campfire and the skeletons of 2 large salmon, which obviously were Bigfoot's breakfast or lunch, whatever. But Bigfoot's prints were clear in the sand leading from the river, and then there were even fresher prints that led back to the water. And stretched out on a sandbar on the Idaho side lay Bigfoot, just enjoying the rays of the late afternoon sun. So in other words, he kind of made a fool of those guys. They saw him cross the river, but by the time they got back, he'd crossed back to the other side. So now he was on the Idaho side. So anyway, these guys, they kind of gave up, but Wheeler said, you know, he hasn't seen the last of me. In other words, he wasn't going to give up. Well, it seems there was a group of Teamsters driving 20 wagons that allegedly encountered Bigfoot while camped on the Payette River up there in Idaho. But during the early morning hours, the Renegade and 2 other Indians stole some of the Teamsters' horses. Now, 5 of the freighters mounted the remaining horses and gave chase. Well, they caught the thieves at dawn and north of the site of present-day town of Weiser. Now, in the ensuing battle, the 2 Indians were killed, but Bigfoot escaped on foot. He was herding 6 horses ahead of him, and he reached the Snake River, and he forced the horses into the water. He then swam the river himself, and when the exhausted horses reached shore, he was waiting for them. The teamster said he disappeared into the distance, herding the horses before him. So this guy had to be in incredible shape. Well, reports of the renegade giant had brought terror to the settlers and the miners of the region since the spring of 1857. And it was the same year a wagon train of immigrants was massacred by Indians on the Boise River. Mm-hmm. Now, some residents said that Bigfoot was a myth, a handy explanation for any murder or theft, but there were plenty of believers that did believe in this guy. Now, according to the standard Bigfoot story, he was born in the Cherokee Nations in Oklahoma, the son of a white man named Archer Wilkinson and a Cherokee woman. So his name actually was Star Wilkinson. But because of his size, the other children called him Bigfoot. Now, while Bigfoot was still a boy, his father met his end at the end of a rope.
Uh-oh.
I don't know what he did, but whatever it was, he was hung for whatever he did. Now, because Star was a light-skinned boy, he wasn't accepted by the Indians or by the white people. Well, Star Wilkinson, or Bigfoot as we call him, he headed west in 1856 on an Oregon-bound wagon train. Now, along the way, he became infatuated with a young woman who encouraged his attentions. But several weeks later, their wagon train was joined by one from New York that included a young artist named Hart. Now, Hart began courting this woman, who was also the objective of Wilkinson's attention. Well, by autumn, things began to heat up between the two rivals, and it climaxed at a place called Goose Creek, right there by you and I, Zeb. Mm-hmm. The Goose Creek that comes out of Oakley, right there along the Snake River. So the men met in a private area to sort out their differences. Now, during the occasion, the discussion, Hart drew his pistol and shot Wilkinson in the shoulder. Well, this made the giant pretty mad. He grabbed Hart by the neck and choked him to death.
Oh, my goodness.
He threw the body into the Snake River. He took Hart's rifle, pistol, and knife and took off because he obviously knew he was probably going to be in trouble. Now, pretty soon, the renegade was robbing miners, settlers, stages, wagon trains. He made friends with some of the Bannock Indians by sharing his loot with them, and the result was a loyal group of followers. Now, his Indian friends actually called him Nampa, or Bigfoot, and some say the city of Nampa, Idaho, is named for Bigfoot. Now, they spelled it N-A-M-P-U-H. But anyway, according to the legend, the following spring, while traveling along the Boise River, Bigfoot spotted the wagon train he had left back at Goose Creek, a while back. Well, the group had wintered in the Boise Basin, and Bigfoot rounded up about 30 of his Indian friends, plus a French trapper named Joe Lewis. The raiders, unfortunately, massacred all the members of the wagon train, and unfortunately, including the young woman who had once been the object of his affection. Well, when everything was over and discovered along the banks of the Boise River, these giant footprints were found in the sand, and other bad things occurred following, and pretty soon Bigfoot had a $1,000 bounty on his head. Now, in 1868, 5 years after their encounter with Bigfoot, this John Wheeler guy was appointed to a special force of lawmen dispatched by the governor. And his job was to restore order between the mining companies. But there had been a rash of stage robberies between Silver City and Boise City. Now, despite his law job, Wheeler was considered a suspect for some reason. So he must not have been a totally wholesome character. But anyway, according to legend, one hot July day, a guy by the name of Anderson was driving his two-horse wagon from Silver City to Boise. As he neared a place called Reynolds Creek Canyon, he pulled his team to the side of the road and took cover in a stand of juniper trees. Now, Bigfoot had attacked a lot of stagecoaches and other people in this little canyon, and Anderson did not want to run into Bigfoot alone. Now, he knew that a stage wasn't too far behind him, so he decided just to wait. But as he waited for the stage, Anderson noticed a movement in the canyon. Well, Bigfoot and two other Indians, all on foot, appeared. Suddenly, shots rang out, and from behind some boulders, now both Indians were killed, and Bigfoot was wounded. Now, the shooter kept firing the bullets, hitting Bigfoot again and again and again, until finally he dropped. Now, Anderson said a lone man emerged from the boulders and approached the fallen Bigfoot, and he recognized this man as this John Wheeler guy that had seen him several years previous. Well, Anderson left his place of hiding and joined the ambusher, Wheeler. Well, Bigfoot was dying, and the men promised to bury the fallen giant in the hills and keep his death and the whereabouts of his grave a secret. Now, some claim that Wheeler kept the killing of Bigfoot a secret because he also wanted to wait and rob the stagecoach, and probably blame it on Bigfoot. Well, Anderson later claimed he counted 16 bullet wounds before burying Bigfoot.
Wow.
He said that the giant was 6'9" tall, about 59 inches around the chest, and with a foot measuring 18 inches in length and 18 inches around.
Wow.
Well, later that summer, John Wheeler tried to rob a Blue Mountain stage, and a posse captured him, and he was sentenced to 10 years in the Oregon Penitentiary. But 10 years later, this Anderson guy sent a letter to the Idaho Statesman newspaper in Boise, and it detailed the account of what happened there on Reynolds Creek. Now, a lot of historians today believe that Anderson, that account was the actual account, but they wonder if it was written by Wheeler using a pen name in an attempt to improve his public image. But nevertheless, in August of 1974, a monument to Bigfoot was dedicated at the Fort Boise site near Parma, with Governor Cecil Andrus presiding over the dedication ceremony. And even if Bigfoot is nothing more than the figment of an outlaw's imagination, he has become an important part of the history of the Snake River.
Absolutely. Now, you're going to just let me have it for a moment so I can tell everybody about Mini-Cache's sales. Are you not Dr. History?
You know, Zeb, I cannot understand what you're saying. I'm sorry.
I'm having a hard time hearing you, too. Mini-Cache's Sales, 1321 East Main in Burley. Don't forget, they've got all your windows, all your doors, all your garage doors. They've got everything, all your carpet, your vinyl, every single thing you need, along with the Formica solid surface countertops. You better see Zach and Joanne today. Absolutely. They're also a distributor for Tartar Farm and Ranch equipment. Panels, cattle handling equipment, you name it, waterers, they've got it all, and they're waiting to serve you at 1321 East Main in Burley. Mini-Cache's Sales, right across from the Burley Airport, and bringing you Dr. History. And right now, here is Dr. History one more time. Take it away, Doc.
Okay, I've got one more short story that I'd like to share with you. This also happened right along the Snake River. There was a ferry that was called Morgan Payne's Ferry, and it was located about 2 miles above Thousand Springs, which is near present-day Hagerman, Idaho. And that's, of course, where hundreds of springs once flowed into the Snake River, and the springs were an important landmark on the Oregon Trail. It was beautiful, clear, clean water, and it was looked forward to with anticipation to those traveling on the Oregon Trail. Now, originally, the ferry crossing was made without a cable, and so they had 6 to 8 men that would row the craft across the river with long sweep oars. Now, most of Payne's customers were horses and riders, livestock, and occasionally just a small farm wagon. Now, in 1871, Payne established a cable ferry, and this new heavy-duty boat could accommodate stagecoaches and freight and immigrant wagons, and so the Overland Stage Line paid $1,000 a year to use the ferry. Now, the Overland Stage crossed the river twice each day, at about midnight when heading for Utah, and at sunup when bound for Boise, which was about 110 miles to the north. Well, in 1876, an Overland Stage went overboard. What happened was the stage driver, a man named Mason, was traveling without passengers, but carrying, of course, the all-important mail bags. Well, after giving the customary morning greeting to the ferry operator, Mason lined his team up to the ferry and drove onto the platform. Now, after the ferry left the bank, the driver remembered he had a letter for the ferry operator. Well, when he reached down to retrieve the letter from the boot, the horses took his sudden movement as a signal to move ahead. Not a good thing. The 2 lead horses stepped forward onto the apron at the end of the ferry, which gave way under their weight. Well, the team, the stage, and the driver all plunged into the river, about 10 to 12 feet of water. Now, the driver, he thrashed free from the sinking stage and nearly drowning in the process. And after he got to the surface, he gulped some air and he dove into the cold, swirling water to try to free the panicking team of horses. Now, the driver was struck several times by the horses' hooves, and because they were trying to keep their head above water. Well, he was able to free the 2 lead horses and actually swim them to shore, which to me is an impossible thing to do, but he made it. Well, the 2 other horses drowned under the weight of the harness and the stage, and though shaken with exhaustion and cold, Mason made one more dive to rescue the soggy mail from the sunken stagecoach. So those are 2 stories that happened right here in our own southern Idaho along the Snake River.
Absolutely. I certainly hope you can hear me now. I don't know what the problem is with the phone line this morning, but we certainly appreciated those 2 stories about the Snake River. Now, tell us a little bit. You're way up in Coeur d'Alene. Is there a lot of snow up there this morning?
You know, there's not much snow, but You know, one thing I enjoy about traveling up through Montana is every time I come up through there and I pass the area of the battles where Chief Joseph and the Nez Perce Indians came across into Montana and headed up to Canada, I just always have to picture in my mind the Indians traveling with their women, their children, and all of their equipment, and the fear they must have felt, you know, knowing that the cavalry was not too far behind them, chasing them. And so when you think of Montana and the Big Sky country, I always, like I say, traveling through there just always kind of makes my imagination run a little wild.
Absolutely. Well, now, next week, are you going to be here in the studio with another great story for us?
I will, and I hope I can hear you better, and I hope to be out to the studio so that we can see each other and make faces at each other.
All right. Well, I want to say thank you very much, Dr. History. Have a great trip home, and thank you for that 2 great stories this morning. Thank you very much.
You bet. We'll see you later.
All right.
Have a good day.
Dr. History, brought to you by Minnecasia Sales, 1321 East Main in Burley. Number to call, 878-2091. Zach and Joanne, right across from the Burley Airport at Minnecasia Sales, bringing you Dr. History. Gina, what are we having problems with the phone lines this morning? It seems like we go along for long.
On my end.
Yeah, and up there it was just really fuzzy in my headsets and everything. I could barely hear him.
That was his line.
Yeah.
That hum was coming because he called from a church up there in Coeur d'Alene, and that was their line.
Didn't they pay their tithing?
I have no idea. He got a phone call.
All right, we'll take a quick call. Real fast call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. This is Dr. History.
Yes.
I gotta say, I'm switched phones and I can hear you perfectly fine now.
And I can also hear you without a very, very bad hum. So I'm glad now that the program's over and we're out of time that you called back on the right phone.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. We should have tried this at the beginning.
Yeah, it was church line because you were calling from the church. It was the church line that had that hum in it. That's why you guys couldn't hear each other.
I've got to tell you, Dr. History, from now on, whenever you do a program from a church, make sure that they paid their tithing so we don't have this trouble.
Okay. I'm just going to use my cell phone. That seems to be working just fine.
All right, my friend. Take care of yourself. Thank you much.
Thank you, Zeb.
All right. Hey, real quick, I've got to tell everybody about Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. I'm going to start going over there again tomorrow, as a matter of fact, with Nick Greenwell, physical therapist, and his entire staff. You better believe it. Great, great exercise programs, sports medicines programs, and the only hydrotherapy pool in the area. Oh, my goodness, from 6-month-old babies to 96-year-olds, they can help you get back to being you and feeling good. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Number to call for an appointment, 678-1191. That number again, 678-1191. Let's see. I got everything taken care of for right now, and I want to remind you that right after our break, we're going to send it back over to our main studios in just a moment. We're going to have Brian Sussman on the air for the last half hour talking about his new video, and it's called It's Easy Being Green When You Have No Choice. We're going to be talking about the green movement here in the United States, so don't miss that. Coming up in just a few moments on Zeb at the Ranch. We'll be right back.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Thank you very much and welcome back to our last half hour on the program. And right now, we are going to say good morning to a gentleman that, former weatherman for television.
I couldn't get a hold of him.
You can't get a hold of him?
Went to voicemail.
Why is this morning kind of like a flush on the toilet?
I have no
Going down the drain. Would you keep trying to reach him on that? And then also I'll see if Deanne could keep trying another source to get a hold of him. And we were planning on, as things have gone awry this morning, on having Brian Sussman. And he's got a brand new DVD out called It's Easy Being Green When You Have No Choice. nice. And if you would, Deanna, and here's the information from Sandy, and we'll try to get a hold of him and get him on the air. So, with that being said, I need some calls. I need some people to call in and visit about any subject you want. And while I'm waiting for your call, I want to say and give you a heads up that the Minnecasia Lincoln Day Luncheon is going to be held coming up on Saturday, February 28th at Maury's Steakhouse in Burley. Now, they're going to have the meet and greet at 12 noon and then lunch at 1 o'clock. And you'll get a chance to come in there and visit with our politicals and ask them questions and ask what's being done on various subjects or what's not being done on various subjects. But I urge you to be there. Now, I get really sick and tired of people saying, well, I didn't go, but you asked him this, Zeb. Well, now, wait a minute. This is a great opportunity for you to ask your own questions and not shirk your duties and get there and ask the questions that are pertinent to you. Minnecasia Lincoln Day Luncheon held at Maury's Steakhouse on Saturday, February 28th. Once again, the meet and greet starting at 12 noon and the luncheon starting at 1 o'clock. Okay? Now give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, Gina, what bugs me about live radio on a program like this, when you verify everything and you have everything lined up and then all of a sudden there's a no-show and it leaves you with completely dead air, it really puts egg on your face. You know what I mean?
Well, that's why you always got to have a plan B and always plan for having more information than what you really need.
I'll tell you what, I had everything all set. Well, yesterday was kind of a killer, if you will, because I didn't get a chance to do too much show prep because I was literally in the hospital yesterday morning and didn't get a chance to take a lot of time and take care of a lot of subjects. One thing I did want to talk about this morning, if we have the chance, there is a bill that is going through the Nevada legislature, and you're saying, well, Nevada legislature, what's that got to do with us? They are proposing a bill that would improve liability protections for horse-related accidents and injuries. Now, the current state law puts an automatic liability on land or horse owners if a horse-related injury happens, even if the person riding the horse was actually negligent. And this is a good thing in Nevada, and I know that on my property and on most people that have horses property, where maybe they rope or they have cuttings or whatever the case might be, that basically a sign up that from the Idaho Horse Council that says if you're going to be there, you're taking on the responsibility for your own liability for anything related with the horses, and please stay out of the arena if you're a spectator. It's not a spectator area. And these kinds of bills, I think, are really necessary. I absolutely am in favor of accidents not being frivolous to the point where they can come back and sue someone, whether you're having a roping or whatever. I just think that more protections are needed for horse-related injuries. These are large farm animals, and anything can happen, and there's a lot of inherent risks when you're riding horses, and if you're negligent, you should be the one on the hook as long as you understand the dangers of being a part of that sport. So congratulations to the folks down in Nevada also incorporating a law that is going to make it a lot tougher for somebody to lose their farm, their riding facilities, or even their ranch. What do we got, Deanne? Did we find him? Yeah, call and see what's going on, if you would, please. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle. I'd love to visit with you about any topic this morning as we're sitting here just basically twiddling our thumbs, hoping that we can find Brian Sussman. You got anything you want to talk about over there, Gina? Anything going on at the station? Anything about Kennedy at school? I don't care.
Honestly, you really want to know what I'm doing? I'm looking up information on how to clean the throttle body on my 97 Bonneville.
How to what?
Clean the throttle body. It's what controls the air and the fuel intake
You know, a lot of times I have gone to bed early in the evening pondering that same question.
Basically what's going on is my car, the Bonneville, the 97 Bonneville.
The black one?
The black one.
Yeah.
It's stalling on me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so usually it's on deceleration, or when I stop, the car will die. Sometimes when I'm like in the middle of an intersection making a turn, it'll die on me, so I have to just pop it in neutral, start the car, put it in gear, and I'm gone again. But it's getting really annoying and irritating, and it's starting to be more frequent. So I'm on a couple of Pontiac forums right now, and I'm actually researching how to clean the throttle body on the car. So when I go and work on it this afternoon, because I've got to change the plugs and the wires, I'm just going to pull that throttle body and clean it as well. It should take me about 2 hours.
Let me ask you this, though. Are you familiar, and I've talked about this with you in the past, but it really kind of irritated me the other evening. There was an advertisement on television, and I'm sure maybe you've seen it, where a husband and wife are going in for a loan. Yes. And the banker is sitting there very smug behind his desk, and he said, well, I reviewed all the papers, and the lady interrupts him, and she has her cell phone, and it has all of her credit information on the cell phone, and she leans back and she says, you don't have to ask me any more questions. I've got an A+ perfect credit rating, and she puts her feet up on his desk. The gist of the story is that she's got A1 impeccable credit, but the husband, like a wart on a dog, just sits there like a wuss. Have you noticed how bad some of these ads are in making the husbands or the male gender just look like they're absolutely buffoons?
Actually, I honestly haven't really seen that video. I do know that probably they're just trying to hit that female target market.
Yeah, but I don't mind if they hit that female target market. But he sits there, and when she says, I've got all the credit I need to get this loan, do you have any other questions? No, I've got the answers. And all he says to the banker, the husband says, oh, I'll have a glass of water. I mean, it's absolutely destroying, I think, any kind of maleness in our society. And that's just one of the ads that comes to mind.
Right, yeah. I haven't seen that, but you know, I really have nothing to add to that without saying, well, you know, go ladies and guys are.
Yeah, and here you are, a mechanic, talking about,
So
okay.
I think you might be asking the wrong person that question.
No, I admire you. I think it's great that you can do what you do, because I look back in my history in the last 10 years and I'm wondering why I paid all these high-priced mechanics when I could have just rolled it over to K-Bar and had you fix it.
Well, you know, it's a learning process, and I am very much a do-it-yourselfer. And Earl, don't go anywhere, because Earl, we will get you. But I'm very much a do-it-yourselfer, and with all of the information out there now, you can do a lot of things. And because I don't make a lot of money, I've got to save pennies when I can, so I choose to figure it out myself, and that's what I'm going to do.
Well, good. By the way, real quick, who was the female on Happy Days that was Fonzie's girlfriend that was the mechanic? Remember that part?
Leather Tuscadero.
There you go. That's it.
And that was actually played by Joan Jett.
There you go. All right. Do we have a call?
Yes, you do.
All right. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Gina, check your fuel filter, and then...
It's already been replaced.
Then look for a vacuum leak.
We've already done that as well.
Gee, Earl, do you mind if we run a radio program here instead of a mechanic's night out? What do you think?
Well, you said you were open to talk about anything.
Yeah, but when I'm sitting here as the host and owner of the program and I haven't got a clue what you're talking about, that's not fair.
Well, if you don't understand it, take it to Gina.
Okay, Earl. Gee, I'm glad you called this morning. I hope your transmission stays good.
Can I bring up a subject that I kind of noticed here maybe a week or two ago?
Well, go ahead. If you're going to nitpick, you might as well.
It was one of the Boise television stations was doing a report on heroin use within the community around Boise.
Okay.
Right. And then they talk, apparently they're trying to pass some sort of law that allows the people around people who are using heroin, so they have a pill in case that one person overdoses.
Oh, my.
Right. So.
Well, so what was the gist of?
What went through my head was they're encouraging the use of heroin, and people will push it to the limit as long as there's a parachute or bailout policy there to save them.
I did not see the report, so I would be amiss in saying too much, but as far as speculation on what was done, if they're saying that basically heroin use can be dangerous, but here's a pill in case you overdose, to me that's not the best and smartest journalism, because like you, I think that we've got enough problems in society with drug abuse and drug usage of the very dangerous drugs, and why give them a scapegoat?
Yeah, Junior, would you call that an oxymoron?
Whatever. Earl, thank you very much for your call this morning. Have a good day. Go fix a transmission or something.
I thought I'd throw a little something in.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Bye.
I spent all day looking for a left-handed wrench. Anyway, Gina is the in-house mechanic. And why don't you fix your own microphone over there? You know how to fix everything else.
Because that's Jerry's job.
Oh.
You got to keep the man employed.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I could fix it because all basically it is you have to replace the wire, but I fix things at home. Jerry gets to fix things here at the studio.
Okay, so it's your microphone, and even I, amazing as it may sound, and how unfamiliar I am with tools, I can fix a cord on a microphone.
Yes.
Yes.
All Jerry basically has to do is pull this one out, put a new wire on it, solder it back together, and then fix it. But it's awful.
Okay, my friend. Oh, another phone call. Thanks for bailing us out. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hello, Reb. This Cowboy Mike. How you doing?
Well, if I was any better, I couldn't stand it. What can I do for you, Cowboy Mike?
Back with your crowd seating subject. A couple years ago, me and girlfriend's coming out of Alamo, and it was about half rain and half snow. The storm came out of the south, and this yellowish, gooey crap was coming out of the sky hitting the windshield.
It's called a bird.
No. It was in the rain and the snowdrops.
I see. Okay.
And it was just smearing on the windshield. Usually I've had it before, but it was a white grayish every day. And this last year it's coming out through Palisades ahead of the storm.
Uh-huh.
And this grayish every day was hitting the windshield. And I think it was from the chemtrails, you know. But,
right.
Maybe they've already experimented with this. That yellow might have been sulfur. You know, they go put that high atmospheric residue.
Well, it's silver iodide is what they've been used for a seeding product. But, you know, I'm glad you called on this, Cowboy Mike, because I've really got mixed emotions on this, and I welcome your call. I don't know as much about cloud seeding as I should, but, you know, when you start talking about altering nature and God's cyclical weather habits and patterns, I don't know, man. What's your opinion? I just think we're in an area that man really doesn't know what he's doing.
The silver iodine isn't so bad, but it's all these other things. I had a video of the world scientists at this convention talks about geoengineering.
Yeah.
And they asked him, well, what's the long-term effects? He said, well, we don't know.
Well, now, wait a minute. Stop right there a minute.
Spraying aluminum, barium, and strontium on us.
Yeah.
And this is what's been going on. And next Monday on Coast to Coast, there's going to be a doctor on there talking about this subject, and that's where the eastern seaboard is getting a lot of cold weather now.
Yeah.
They picked up in that HARP program in Alaska. They've got the jet stream to go real far north, and it dips down, and that's why we're in such a drought.
Well, now, wait a minute, Cowboy Mike, listen to me for a minute, because you're falling right into what I was talking about earlier. There was a report, a federal report that says, quote unquote, time to examine purposely cooling planet. And the lead headline out of the Science Writer by Seth Borenstein says, it's time to study and maybe even test the idea of cooling the Earth by injecting sulfur pollution high in the air to reflect the sun's heat, a first-of-its-kind federal science report said. You know, Cowboy Mike, when you start playing with God and nature and cyclical weather programs, who's to say that the devastating effects might cool off a certain part of the planet to the point where you're talking about freezing temperatures, you're not talking about any agriculture, you're not talking about people even able to live in that respective area? I think mankind is absolutely not supposed to mess with this stuff.
That's right, and I agree with you, and I think they're using this as a weapon. And also, one of the scientists, let me explain this to you, had this brainstorm idea to kill all green plants on planet Earth to control the world population.
Well, now
and
that...
kill animals. And you can't believe the people that agreed with him.
You know something? You're talking about another report that I also have here in front of me, and these people absolutely hate the human race, and they are looking at and using all kinds of things in connection with various meetings that they've had on Agenda 21, and it's just downright scary. Cowboy Mike, thank you for your call. I got to do a commercial, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Bless your heart, and thank you very much.
You bet, sir. Thank you. Everything he's saying is really coming true. At some of these meetings that they've had over in Rio de Janeiro and others for the inception and the perpetration of Agenda 21, and I know my dear friend Jack Euler and I have talked about this on the air, and Adrian Arp, we've talked about this on the air. You know, you might think it's it's stuff that's really weird. It's coming to fruition, and you get these people saying, well, we can have these different carbon dioxides or seed the skies with tiny droplets to block the sun's rays. This is insane. Trying to cool or chill off the world from the sun? You don't know what you're messing with. Don't forget Burley Glass, 1029 Overland Avenue in Burley. The number to call, 678-1459. They are always working hard to provide great service to all the communities in Magic Valley. Gentle Ben, Leslie, and the whole crew. Let me tell you, it's nice outside now, but don't forget, now's a great time to update your windows, not only for the cold, but then also for the summer heat. They've got the most efficient vinyl windows that can increase the energy efficient of your home by 2 to 3 times. Stop in or give them a call at Burley Glass, 1029 Overland Avenue in Burley, 678-1459. Got to get the weather forecast in here. Excuse me, and the weather this hour is brought to you by Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Number to call, 324-7657. Don't forget, they've got the very best of beef and pork and lamb and the processing of wild game, and everything they sell is guaranteed, and they sell taste one bite at a time. You be sure and get a hold of Don Scarrow and the rest of the crew at Scarro's Meats, 324-7657. Right now, here is Michael Rogers' weather.
Hello, everyone. Mike over there at the ranch. We got a nice week. It's going to be nice sunrises over the Twin Towers, nice evening sunset until you get to Friday night. And then you're going to go back to a slight chance of snow on Friday and also for Saturday. Just want to put that in there. I'm trying to tell you now, just don't buy into it. It's all right. You're getting close to spring. Happens every year when you get close to spring. You get all this nice weather, and all of a sudden it starts raining and snowing. You get mad. You don't want to listen to the weather people. You don't want to listen to anybody because you're ready for spring. High today, 52. Enjoy the weather. See what you got.
All right, Michael. Thank you very much. Brought to you by Scarro's Meats. Delicious selling taste, one bite at a time. 331 North Road, Jerome. 324-7657. They guarantee everything they sell. All right, give me a call, 436-2244-1866-927-4587. I don't want to get kind of draw a coordination or a correlation between what Idaho Power is doing with their cloud seeding for more snowpack, but when you look at this climate engineering, and it really bothers me, it really scares me that we've got scientists that are working with the environmentalists and the Agenda 21 people that absolutely want a colder climate for nothing more than control. And once you do something like that, where you have tried to block the sun's rays, I mean, think of agriculture. Think of food production. Think of the starving, freezing people around the globe. As far as I know right now, and I beg somebody to call me, tell me that a warmer climate has ever actually hurt or killed somebody. It's actually healthier all the way around. And to try to change things and alter what God puts forth is absolutely asinine. And that's what they're trying to do. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Is there anything on a car you can't fix? I mean, you've changed transmissions, you've painted cars, you've worked on the engines. Where'd you learn all this anyway?
My dad used to have an auto parts store. My dad's been in auto body and a mechanic for forever, and I just kind of grew up around it. I used to be a boat racer, so I used to work on all of my stuff.
You used to race boats?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And
what kind of boats?
Little outboards.
Nothing like Miss Budweiser or anything like that.
Oh, no, gosh, I wish. Those are the Unlimiteds. Yeah, I would love to race an Unlimited. There's several different classes. There's the outboards, the inboards, and then the Unlimiteds, and they have the jet boats as well. But I did the outboards, and I had a Yamato 80.
Now, we have somewhat of a similar background because way back before, just after the Model T, I used to race stock cars.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know anything about the mechanics or anything.
So you could race them, but you couldn't fix them?
I had no clue.
Yeah, see,
I would just crawl in through the welded door, sit in the very, very cold confines of that stock car, and I used to race stock cars.
You know what? That would actually be a lot of fun. And racing stock cars is similar to racing boats. You only turn one way, left.
Yeah, and it was handy for me.
Yes. And I wrecked a couple of times, and then there was a few times where the boat had to be rebuilt, and so we had to rebuild it. And then, but I learned a lot of just mechanicking from growing up in the woods.
Yeah, but racing...
We didn't have mechanics around that.
I will say this, and I say this because I've never raced boats, so please pardon my naivete if I'm wrong. Racing boats would be much more, in my opinion, dangerous than racing cars.
It is. Quite frankly, it is, because you still have, you can still get into a wreck just like you would with another car. You can get into a wreck with another boat. Explosions, not uncommon. You can drown, even if you are wearing, all of your safety gear. Let's see here. What else can?
Well, the variables.
When you hit the water, it's not soft.
No,
it's like hitting concrete.
I totally agree with you, because I know that when I was racing stock cars, and I didn't do it for a long period of time. I did it for 2 summers back in the Midwest, etc. And you've got, I would call, escape patterns to get out of a real bad wreck, and you've got more factors, I think, of danger, like you just mentioned: the water, the fires, the explosions, the drownings. You've got, I just think there's more variables that can go wrong on the water than there is on a stock car race.
I think I would agree with you on that. You're still dealing with, you've got your full field of racers.
Yeah.
Everybody has their safety protocol. I mean, we all had to go to the drivers' meetings. We all had to do this. Each boat was equipped with safety equipment, but even with the safety equipment, accidents do happen. I remember one time I got, I was making my turn to the left, and my fin didn't hook, and so my boat went left, I went right, and the boat kept on going. The kill switch didn't work.
Yeah, and see, in a stock car race, you can actually, and you find someone that's going to be the same temperament and personality as you are, and there's going to be a little bit of rubbing and scrubbing and bumping and all that kind of thing, and you might even say the heck with the race and just try to put the other guy off the track.
Yeah.
Off the track is one thing, but when you hit a boat on the water and everything, I mean, there's more variables, I think, for injury.
There are, and like I said, rules and regulations. You can't. Everybody has their lane. You have to stay in your lane. Once you pick that lane, that's the lane that you're in. You cannot cross lanes. A lot of times, what people will do is they're going to try and douse you with water as soon as they go by you. Because they've got their rooster tail out the back. Their goal is to douse you, because once they douse you, your engine could stall out.
And for some reason,
of water, which isn't fun.
For some reason, I've got you pictured as a boat racer that is not going to win the Miss Congeniality Award. I got to do a commercial. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Don't forget, Founders Celebration going on at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the best in tires, and, of course, some specials for the Founders Celebration, like $50 off custom wheels when you buy a new set of 4, or $20 off wheel alignment when you buy 4 new tires. Absolutely stop in. And don't forget, too, they've got all the best in tires for your type of driving and your vehicles, and the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, everything, batteries, it's all there at all 7 locations. Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Oberlin and Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Gotta go. Tomorrow morning on the program, we're going to have the Idaho Fish and Game Report, Doug Johnson from Colorado, and much, much more. And remember, the way things were, the way things ought to be. Zeb at the Ranch. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 8:06.